What's up, everybody? Welcome to Games Recap.
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us. Welcome to Games Recap. Today is Tuesday.
Yes, it is Tuesday. You are correct, sir.
I had to confirm.
Yes, this is our, we're about the fifth episode now. We covered the first week mostly on E3. Everything E3, kind of going through the press conferences, kind of reviewing what everybody had to offer, and most importantly, we gave our opinions on what that was about, and we're finally returning back to what you guys are pretty much used to. If you listen to our Game Dev Unchained podcast, you know what the format is like. Without Ray, of course, because he does still have a full-time job, sucker. But we do a roundtable of news. Actually, we gather what was the biggest news yesterday. We're still kind of teetering off of what happened at E3, so I think we can just start off about our biggest takeaways, reviewing everything that we saw, and the biggest headlines.
Sure. I'll start with saying that I think the biggest winners for me, I guess, company-wise, I think Square Enix had a pretty good showing, just mainly because of the nostalgia effect for myself. They had two games, like the Master Edition of the Mana series coming back out, also showing the remake of Final Fantasy VII, so I was big behind that. Plus, you know, a couple of the new stuff that they're working on, so yeah. Nintendo, I think, also did well. The game I'm most excited about from Nintendo is the Cadence of Hyrule, or The Legend of Zelda Hyrule. I forget the actual full title of the name, but just the mechanics and the concept seem really cool. I want to try that out. I love Zelda, and I love anything music related, so that's a big one for me. How about you?
Mine was actually pre-E3. The most exciting is the return of Kojima.
Okay.
Right? So Kojima releases like freaking baby
Actual,
Amazon package. Demons in World War II, soldiers creeping out of the mud, like that trailer, which we should definitely watch. But maybe we can pull it up later. But that is a game that has been kind of just been mysterious since 2016, right? This is after the fallout of Kojima Productions over at Konami, where the Yakuza said no more. Kojima, took his talent elsewhere, took most of the team, and started hyping up his game that he hasn't even put pen on paper, which is really impressive, right? For a person and in an industry that is known for AAA being 5 to 7 years of development, right? So from 2016, he started building the studio, finding the engine, and we have confirmed it is like based off the Guerrilla Games engine, the Horizon Zero Dawn engine. And then they just spawned off that and made it their own. And then from 2016 to now, which is 2019, and the game's releasing in November 2019, it took them exactly 2.5 years to make this game, to hype it up and finally release it, and no one knows anything about it.
No
really.
leaks, right? Like no serious leaks or anything like that. Nothing that they didn't want out there is out there. So great job on their marketing team, and I guess their internal team, for keeping everything quiet and actually marketing the game the way it should be. Which is controlled and, making sure that you always whet the appetite. Nothing too soon was given away, and fans always wanted more. For months and months and months, we were sitting there like, what does this picture mean? Oh, Norman's in the game, so what is he going to do? What is this machine? What is that smoke? We've been asking so many questions now that people are like actually super excited about this game coming out. Not only do they want to see the story, but they want to see the gameplay as well. Because I still don't have a full grasp on what my gameplay experience is going to be like as far as what actions I will perform. But it does seem like I get a sense of like my duty, which is to like survey these areas and run away from the things that kill me. Right. And then tap into the baby's powers whenever I need to.
Some baby batteries, gotta keep it up. But there is the mascot basically for Kojima games, which is the anime influence. They have the boss battles set up. There's this like a Psycho Mantis-esque type of character that you're battling in one of the earlier trailers. So it has everything Kojima is known for in a little tight package. I'm just really impressed that they were able to crank this out and build up a studio and build an engine and showing those motherfuckers how it's done, dude. Like, when was the last time you saw a AAA game do all that within 3 years?
AAA game. Well, I guess it doesn't count as indie because they have Sony's backing.
They have Sony's back. They're definitely AAA. That quality, and they have like big time actors.
Oh, I guess what I meant was that like to have left Kojima, or excuse me, to have left Konami, the way that they did, and then immediately turn around and like
build an engine, build a team, build a new IP, get excitement around it, and release it and be successful. No and it's going to sell. Well, it's going to be very profitable.
I think it's going to be 4.2.
In terms of sales, oh man, at least 8.
You think so?
I think 8 mil.
8 mil?
8 mil, dude.
My thing
with that team size, it's 4.2 will be profitable.
Sure.
Right. I'm imagining even if their team is the regular size of 200 people plus, with the amount of time they took to make that game, they're gonna instant profits, right?
I guess where I come from in the estimate of 4.2 is more like I'm taking a guest sample of like who is interested in this type of IP and story and gameplay, and I think that it's limited, and that's really what I'm kind of getting at. Is not so much that I don't think the game is good, pretty, or will play well or be fun, but I think that the sector of people interested in this execution of an idea is probably a lot less than a Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Right? Like Metal Gear Solid 6, 10, sure.
10
right?
mil easy.
It's new. People are taking a risk on trying it out. They have no information really on what type of gameplay experience other than the trailer stuff. So I'm being a little more cautious by saying like a 4.2. I still think it's going to be very successful.
Right.
Especially 4.2 for your first company's game.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that because of the horror element to it, there's going to be a lot of streaming in as a factor to the sell of the game. I think a lot of people are so drawn into the mysterious nature of it that people are just going to slowly build up. And I think it's going to eventually be, before the end of the year, at least 10.
I think Sony will be happy either way. I think.
Yeah, and Sony's been really good with their IPs, with God of War, Spider-Man. They've been really doing a good job marketing, and just their loyal customer base is just really buying up all their original exclusives. Yeah.
I guess we can segue if you want. Speaking of Last of Us, because I kind of dropped that, they celebrated their 6-year anniversary from the original Last of Us coming out, and then the remake, obviously, or the remaster happened somewhere in between. But 6 years ago, Last of Us dropped on us. So thanks again to Sony, and shout out to everyone on that team. I was on Twitter, and they were just going back and forth, sending each other kudos and back pats. So it was cool to see that. It's cool to be. I'm sure it's cool to be on that team to see like the world actually appreciating a product that you made so long ago instead of just shit trashing it most game developers are used to.
Yeah. Last of Us is definitely one of the newer PS4 titles at the end of the cycle that really blossomed. It was actually PS3, right?
Last of Us was PS3.
And PS4 is the Last of Us 2.
And then they did a HD remake on PS4.
Okay.
Why did I say Xbox One? I just meant that generation, not that you can play it on Xbox.
Yeah, like how I feel... this is my game developer side. It's like, yes, it's Naughty Dog. They're doing a good job. They have excellence. But even Neil Druckmann, when we did the G-Ducks, I think one of our speakers was talking about how Neil Druckmann kind of like has that Elon Musk attitude about like it's not worth it. It's not a masterpiece unless you crunch the shit out of yourself, or something to that context.
If you want to make great games, you
have to.
If you want to make, was it tied to a rating? Oh man, I thought I knew the quote. Like, if you want your games to be great, you have to sacrifice and be. We're butchering this quote,
but whatever that is,
like
you understand. If someone looks that up, we'll repeat it. But the idea behind it is that you can't live a healthy life as a game developer and still be able to pump out excellent games.
And I mean, I disagree. It just all comes down to scope. That's what I say. Like, if you look at Hellblade, right? Hellblade, worth every damn penny that I paid to get that game. And now also on Games Pass if you're a Games Pass member. So you can play it if you're already paying your $9 a month. But all that I'm saying is scope is a real thing, right? Like, if you want to make a 30-hour AAA experience and get 100 rating on it, like a Red Dead type of game, then the undertaking that you're going to have to go through to make that. But you can also just go to, like a Hellblade style game development cycle and say, hey, you know what? We're going to take our small focused team. We're going to make a very tight, core experience, couple mechanics, and then we're going to tell this amazing and captivating story behind it. And that's one way that you could also do AAA development as well. It's considering going after the slice and making it a very good slice, or going after the pie and making a very good pie. As long as you price accordingly, I think both business models can work, and everything in between.
Yeah, a lot of it is just at the very beginning stages of planning.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't want anything bad to happen to Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
I love playing their games.
Yeah, I definitely want their developers to have good quality of life.
Yes, but like they're especially known for that, and like I hope someday they realize that to pump out these great games, they don't have to overwork everybody to death, because that's one of the things around the murmurs within the game development scene. It's like, yeah, no, it's great, but they really kill you to the core.
Yeah.
And there's like an expectancy to kind of be always there.
I think quality of life has a lot to do with quality of product.
Yes.
And so, I mean, if I ran a business, you guys would be taken care of. So.
Yeah. So I'm very interested in behind what Kojima is doing, kind of circle back with Death Stranding, being able to give us more insight on how they were able to do all these things. And I can't imagine them hiring up to 200 to 300 within those 2.5 years. That's a lot of management. If they did and were able to kind of still be on schedule, that is some amazing masterminding. Like, imagine the feat that they had to overcome to make that happen.
I wonder if there are any cuts that we don't know about or anything like that to keep on schedule.
There's a postmortem that I would love to listen to, because that is like a very rare thing happening right now in this current gen, because right now we're looking at 5 to 7 years of development for every game.
You can't.
But I don't at least 3 restarts on game design every time.
If your game looks like it's going to take 7 years to make and you're not PC, I would say avoid it at all costs.
Yes.
At all. You're almost talking about getting all the way through a full life cycle for the games consoles now, right? No way.
Yeah.
You for sure would have gotten through the entire PS4 life cycle in 7 years. So was that 2013 and now 2020 the new stuff comes out?
You're talking 10 years is pretty much a console cycle.
Jesus Christ.
7, 8 years. But that's what's happening to a lot of these games. That's why things like Ubisoft, when we were watching their E3 conference, how smart they are with annualizing a lot of their core franchises, right? I mean, a lot of people do hate on that, but the reality is that they figured out a model that kept game developers employed, and that's always something to celebrate. So as a gamer, like, yes, if you are sick of hearing these franchises every year, like Assassin's Creed, Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, those allow opportunities for like Watch Dogs and The Division to pop up once in a while and become like an established franchise because they can afford it, they know the formula, they create enough excitement to get a team together and create a new title. And I want to see more of that. Nintendo is the only one that, like, I have really no context, because most of the development team seems to be in Japan.
Okay.
And I don't know how exactly they operate over there. I just imagine the Japanese culture of overworking themselves is already there. So quality in the game product over quality of life type of mentality. So it's a whole different culture, a whole different mentality. And it's not only really restricted or exclusive to the game industry. It's all industries over in Japan. It's just a cultural thing. But I never really see a developer from Nintendo, right?
Yeah. You always see the producers are higher.
Never
the
see,
faces of the company.
They're very hidden.
But,
and they just silent ninjas, just thinking everybody playing the games.
Yeah, it's a different environment, I guess. I've never been to Japan. I'm not directly familiar with like the work culture, but I mean, I've heard stories, and then to see like the Miyazaki like internships, or the like when they're like, hey, we're doing a new movie, come work for us, $13,000 US.
Yeah, you gotta really work for it. Yeah.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, oh my god, you expect these people to work full time and then some on that? Like you. Like, as much as
but
I
those interns after they finish
are
like instantly hireable at any other animation studio.
Oh yeah,
that's what you're sacrificing.
I guess like that sumo mentality, right? Like you come in, you wash the jock straps, you mop, you sweep, you eat last, you
wash the jock straps.
No, seriously, like the like
true.
sumo belts.
That's how the sushi guys are.
Yeah,
they like wash rice for like 7 years before they can touch a knife and some sushi.
Yeah, you got to really want to do this, I guess. And I bet anybody who makes it through that hazing, I wouldn't call that employment, I'd call that hazing. You make it through that hazing, then I guess you're part of a fraternity that very few people are part of.
Well, you definitely, if you survive that, there's a mentality, there's a strength in that, I think. Yeah. If any of those guys go through 7 years of tutorship, mostly doing like low-level stuff, and then finally being able to do it, I do think there's like that grind does push you to really perfect your craft, because all those years you're just dreaming of that opportunity. And I think rarely people who survive that pre-run actually are, completely flop at the task, tough. Right? There's a mental toughness behind it. That's their culture in Japan. Well, I mean, and I feel like we need a little of that in America. I think we have hardworking people, of course, but like on average, if we go toe to toe,
we also are a country full of like greedy capitalism where there's a thing called rent control, because without rent control, your landlord will just too damn high you to death, right? You're like, oh, my neighbor's paying $2,000 for this one bedroom, so I'm gonna now charge you $2,000. Yeah, like rent control is like, hey man, let's keep it reasonable in a lot of areas so that low income people can actually survive. Yeah, so that $13,000 US would not work. You know what I mean? When you have everyone around you, every company wants Lamborghinis in their lives. And so they're like nickel and diming and extorting every piece of money that you could possibly earn. Yeah. And so I don't know if they have similar issues like that in Japan, but like, let's say you were taking an internship here that was going to last 2 years, but no pay. If you didn't have a mom and dad setting you up, you're prevented from even realistically even trying to take that approach. Yes. So I guess that's a big difference with why I would say like I can't see that kind of burnout culture happening here without some sort of setup or sustainability that is already taking care of your needs so that you can just get through that internship period of time. Another reason why I would say low income people don't get the same opportunities, because there's probably a lot of internships out there that are unpaid that may last a year and a half, 2 years, and incredible life experience awaits just on the other side of that. Yeah. But how are you supposed to have had, a salary and a half's worth of money in savings to even survive that period of time to take the risk in the first place? Yeah.
I think if I were to restart my career and I didn't have, extra baggage, family, I would have done the van life, dude. I would have had a 24 fitness gym membership, preferably a workplace that has a shower, right? So I don't have to go home and just live in a van. Yeah. I think I would have done that I could have pulled it off for 5-10 years.
Yeah, a close friend of mine did that.
Terrible.
No, seriously.
But I would have saved enough to buy a house by my 30s outright. Yeah. And probably start thinking about early retirement. Yeah. All that money that you save from paying high rent, because most of these areas for game developers are high rent, no rent control type of situations.
Dude, mark my words, micro housing, it's like cute and it's like a thing that you can watch and it feels trendy and cute. Yeah. I'm telling you, that shit is coming to America soon. Yes.
Coming to America is very true. You don't need to look further than Korea or Japan or all these other like first world countries who kind of squeeze everybody in a little box. Yep.
Shipping crate houses are going to happen. Yeah. Affordable housing is a huge need in America. It's
looking more appealing to
middle class getting wiped out.
To be honest,
I'm telling you, people laugh, but you're gonna start seeing that shit. Mark my words.
Yes, it's coming. And I think it affects a lot of tech people initially, because even those guys who worked at Google, Facebook, and stuff, they were doing like a recent survey on what the average worker salary has to be for them to be considered middle class, and it's like up there in like 130s, 140s, 150s. That is not middle class, man. That is that's high salary, man. Yeah. And in most cases, to reach that, to kind of skate by both couples,
you need dual income.
Both spouses have to work, even with children and stuff.
So. All right, good luck, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm at home now, so.
Let's move on to another topic. Personal friend of ours, but also streamer extraordinaire, Dr. Disrespect. Yeah, took a big Twitch ban.
It's so dumb.
Let's dig into that a little bit.
Well, from what I've seen, he doesn't care as much, and what I've read is like Twitch bans actually boost the popularity of a Twitcher.
It can be weaponized. It can be leveraged. Probably a better word.
So on average, Twitchers that get banned actually gets a lot of publicity. So look at the last 5 days. This dude hasn't been streaming 8 hours a day, and he's been getting all these free publicity from this one stunt.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's advantageous. It's great. He's from what I've read, he actually just made emojis about him like in the bathroom. That people will use.
Smart.
Right?
It's smart.
Very smart. It's a very smart businessman.
Here's my question: do you think it was intentional, or do you think that he's making the best of a bad situation?
He's making the best of it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody intentionally wants to get banned.
Yeah, and I mean, neither one of us are like his best friend, not even close or anything.
No,
like
we
that,
were just
like,
his gym buddies.
We used to lift in the gym and see him here and there. What I can say is he's not a stupid person.
No,
I don't get that feeling at all.
No.
I don't get the feeling that he's vindictive or he's manipulative. I definitely know that there's a persona that's being represented in the Dr. Disrespect character. And again, separating the two, familiar with Guy being familiar with Dr. Disrespect, I can say that, like, I can see how, like, oh shit, we're in trouble for something we did, but I wouldn't put it on his shoulders as the individual that, like, his intent was to be filming people in a bathroom and like throw their privacy all over the internet and disregard their concern. I do think I saw that, like, the faces were blurred. I don't know if that happened before or after, because I actually didn't see the stream myself, so I don't know if it was the news source that blurred out the people or whatever.
There's no way they can live stream.
Was it live? Okay, so all I'm saying is
blur is a lot of production.
it's okay. I'm just saying that, like, could have been an oversight, but I think just to save grace for the person themselves, I think for sure I'm more willing to bet that it's taking advantage of a bad situation, because I mean, Twitch now is like primary source of income, so he has to protect that. You know, enjoy the vacation, come back stronger, and congrats on all the mentions and retweets and
his fans are not going to hate him. If anything, they love it.
Yeah, that's
hilarious.
But it's right in line with the character portrayal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it fits with him, and he's rolling with the punches. So it's dumb, but it's dumb on both parts. Yeah. Like, he shouldn't be in the bathroom. That seems so obvious.
For sure.
Carrying a camera around, but it's also Twitch is using him as an example because he's a huge Twitcher. Plus, they have to enforce the rules.
Exactly. Twitch doesn't want to be responsible, because Twitch is a live platform, right? So much like you said, the amount of work to live blur everything. Twitch has the same problem with every channel, right? Like where what was it? The Artifact card game. If you went to the Twitch channel, because it was such an unsuccessful amount of people actually interested in playing Artifact, if you dig deep in like the Twitch people who are artifacting, there was like a huge percent that was just straight up porn being live streamed through Twitch.
I mean, terrible.
And, and so like that's something that they now had to crack down on and moderate. And so one of the ways that you can police live streaming is obviously very publicly take steps against people who break terms of service.
Sure. How do they do live policing on that type of stuff? They just wait until it becomes a huge thing and they close
I'm
it
sure
off?
They have people sniffing. Like, literally their job is to just go through
all that stuff.
Maybe random channels. I would probably have some people just doing random channels, some people serving specific genres, and then some people just looking for like huge traffic spikes that are like don't match the algorithm, and then check and see what's actually being broadcast.
That's a tough business to moderate.
Yeah.
Because we can start taking our shirts off right now.
Dude, exactly. I will say this though, game related or not, it kind of is. The biggest Twitch hero of my entire life. It made me laugh so hard. There was like a big UFC fight. I think it was John Jones, Daniel Cormier. I don't remember for sure, but I think it was their second fight, right?
Yeah.
And there was this kid who like was live streaming like he was playing UFC and commentating, but it was actually the pay-per-view fight behind him. So he was like, "Oh yeah, got a jab," and like he was totally into it, like really selling it. But he was like, for the homies, he like actually had the fight going
very
for free.
Smart.
I laughed so hard when I figured that out. I was like, "Oh, this," like, because you only see like the little clip, and from a thumbnail, the UFC game versus the live stream of UFC actually looks very similar from the thumbnail.
Yeah.
But this dude, man, oh my
so
god,
smart.
Yeah, that was. What was that? What was that beer commercial? Real man of genius. Here's to you, Twitch UFC streamer guy. That was. You don't care about Zuffa Entertainment lawyers.
No, I love those guys that kind of bring it to the people. I discourage it. You should buy it.
Yeah.
But it's nice since I kind of cut the cord on cable and stuff to watch sports. It's kind of harder to not be able to. I actually at one point bought an antenna. You remember those old antennas? I didn't know it still works. Yeah. Supposedly.
Well, you can get the digital channels now.
But I went in there and I bought one from Best Buy. Plugged it into my my flat screen, And I had to stand outside to get the signal. I was like, oh, I remember. I hate this piece of shit. $50, dude. And so I went back and returned it the same day. It just wasn't worth it.
You don't remember tinfoil, man?
I remember that, but I thought the technology would be better now. Man. Like the antennas would actually be able to pick up signal on top of your TV. It was not the case.
Tinfoil, bro.
But this is the problem with like
tinfoil still works.
It's so annoying.
It's like duct tape, man. It still works.
Yeah. But speaking of Twitch, Amazon thought it was the perfect time while E3 to lay off people.
Oh.
All right. So
try to slide that one in.
Long-term listeners of our other podcast, Game Dev Unchained, knows my feeling. Let me sum it up right now.
Sure.
Amazon is great at everything else but game development. All right. They have the source cloud up there. They got people servicing multiplayer, right? They got the Twitch channel that they bought. But when it comes to game development, which they've been trying for the last 5 years, nothing has come out. They've just been canceling, and they bought the Lumberyard, the Crysis engine. Was
leveraging Crytek to be their own engine.
They call it Lumberyard. Everybody knows if you're a game engine business, you got to start with the letter U, dude. You're calling you're like one letter too much, right? Lumberyard would have been a better bet. But Lumberyard doesn't even sound appealing. It just sounds like work, right? And I think the at least the articles I've read from developers, the number one reason why it's been difficult is just wrestling with the engine, getting it to work the way it is. That type of thing will take years for it to develop, on top of trying to make new IPs and make it appealing, right?
I feel like that's what happens when you try to brute force your way into an industry with money and not expertise, right? Yeah. So I don't know who Amazon was consulting in the setup of their game studio, and no disrespect if these are esteemed colleagues of mine, game industry veterans or whatever, but the reason why I'm willing to believe that they weren't is because they should have seen this coming. Yeah. If anybody asked me, hey, Larry, you want to start a company and use Crytek, I would say, throw your money in a fire and you'll have a better time, right? Because what I look at when I think about that is Crytek. And, Crytek, great looking engine. It has produced some great games like Crysis 1, Crysis 2, Crysis 3, Son of Rome, right? I think each one of those, all the Crysis games obviously are internal first party. I don't remember if Son of Rome was Crytek game or not, but it's like there's 4 games I can think of that actually made it through start to finish using Crytek. Armored Warfare at Obsidian was Crytek game. So that's a shameless plug because I worked on that one. But okay, so I've counted on my hand 5 games that I could actually legitimately say successfully made it through Crytek. Was Far Cry's Crysis as well, right?
Far Cry is a different franchise, but it's the
older
same
ones. Was it Crytek? I thought Far Cry was...
The original Far Cry was made by Crytek, and they sold that off. Idiots. Yes. And then,
long story short, 5 games, right? And most of them were made by the people who made the engine, so they don't even count. That's like believing the snake oil salesman about snake oil. You know what I mean? It's like, of course, they're going to tell you everything good about their own product. So Amazon leveraging Crytek, I think, was a first mistake. I think they would have been better off. I bet you the 30% that Unreal would have wanted, or Unreal's or Unity's cut on all their games, would have been a better investment to lose that money there for the games that they haven't made yet, versus leveraging Lumberyard, paying Crytek the money there to actually make an engine that has lost them developers, that has lost them talent, lost them ideas, and has made it almost damn near impossible for them to actually release games with any sort of cadence. Yeah. I think one game that I know of has come out from Amazon Game Studios, and the rest have just been in trouble. And I don't know for sure, so please fact check or verify.
No, I think there's only been one game that officially came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had this like MOBA football-esque games that some of our friends have worked on.
Yeah.
It was horrible. But I think they canceled it actually before they released it.
Yeah, if Amazon is still trying to do games, I would say abandon Crytek, abandon Lumberyard. It's okay. You have all the money in the world. Yeah. Like, if you really want to do games right, like, build a team of people who work on games, sit them down and course correct. I'm pretty sure.
Just buy better studios. I think,
but like those better. But don't force those studios to use Lumberyard.
Yeah, they definitely have the money to keep going, but from what I've seen, they are not going that route. They are definitely cutting costs where they see there is a risk. I've before these layoff stories started happening, I thought they were forever studios. Like, no matter what, we're gonna stick to it and keep working at it. Layoffs after layoffs, games being canceled after being canceled. They just sound, I think, more ruthless than a regular game studio, to be honest. Because they're all about the stat sheets, right? And Bezos doesn't have the time, man. He's launching rockets and shit. He's looking at it. It's like, why is everything negative on the game division, right?
Yeah.
Who are these guys? They're making shit. I can't play this.
Man, if Bezos...
My Kindle is better than this.
If he's that high up looking at the Amazon Game Studio stuff with any sort of like discernibility, oh man, they're in trouble.
But that's what I mean. Like, these are the rich, huge companies that see games as a huge, if not already blossoming industry that is competing against all the other industries, and they want in, right? Everybody wants in. That's why I see a lot of comparisons between Amazon and Google right now. Google has infinite money, right? They're at the very beginnings of maybe something big or horrible, and you would believe Google has the willpower to see it through, but they also have a reputation of closing shop early when things don't hit like incredible success. So yes, they have some developers there, some notable developers. They got Phil Harrison, who's like known for like jumping ship a lot. So maybe they're in a better state, right? They're not tied to like a stupid engine like Lumberyard. Really, they're just there to create good games. But I do see somewhat of a similarity between them and Amazon, kind of just not really being in the game business for so long, not realizing how hard it is to make games. Unless Google goes out there and start buying independent studios, kind of like what Microsoft is doing, they'll have a better reputation. But right now, Amazon didn't do that. They bought, let's be honest, like studios with an okay engine, and they didn't know what to do with it.
It's like, remember Vince McMahon, owner of WWE, he's like, hey, I'm going to start my own NFL. It's going to be called XFL.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Can you name one player that was in the XFL?
Exactly.
Can you name one?
No.
You know what I mean?
I don't even know.
It's like, I get it. You have the money. You have the funds to do this. You're going to make this competitive product, but you're not going to the right people to actually execute. And the first XFL ended up being huge failure. It didn't sync WWE, right? So like, obviously if Amazon Games shuts down, Amazon is going to live long and prosper. This is just, they'll bury it and keep selling books. And
I really do think Amazon eventually is going to do the Disney route. Not even the Disney route. Disney route is like licensing the IPs. Amazon doesn't really have any IPs. I think they're slowly going to bow out. At this state, they have 2 games in the works, the Crucible and some.
I don't even remember.
The Crucible was some kind of Indian or Native American game, and some other game. But like, it just doesn't sound appealing. Like on paper, it sounds unappealing, dude. It's like, why are you making this? Who approved this? Give me the money instead, type of mentality. But it's like,
I don't have high hopes for the
there's nothing exciting that I've heard from these last 2 games, and they just lay off a bunch of people for both those projects. So I have to assume that they're not doing well with those projects.
Let me ask you this: do you think it can be saved
for Amazon? Those 2 projects?
Do you think Amazon Game Studio, like in general, the games division, could be saved?
No.
Okay, so it's DOA.
I think 3 to 5 years, they're gonna stop. They're gonna announce like, "Hey, we're not making games anymore." It's been 5 years already. They haven't released a game.
Dude,
isn't that crazy?
Who at Crytek?
You can't even release an iPhone game.
Who at Crytek had the like? I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have been there when they were like pitching Amazon on buy Crytek.
It's the good old Liam Neeson, good luck. It's like here's he signs the paper and it's like, good luck. So why do you say it like that? It's just his accent.
Did they even kick the tires of Crysis before they bought it, right? Like, did they even take it to a mechanic for a second
out of
opinion?
all the engines, all right, that was the one that is being sold within budget. It was like a good starting off point, I think. The amount of work to fix it was probably underestimated, but also the right team and the right idea to make a game was, again, probably underestimated. So everything just didn't work out from what I've seen and heard. And I think a lot of it could have been avoided, really, with it always starts and ends with the right people, right? If you hire a studio that's unproven,
it's
so how do you expect success above, where they were before? It's like there's no way.
Famous climbers, right? Have all had local Sherpas.
Yeah.
Exactly. People who knew the lay of the land,
yes,
who had pretty much already climbed the mountain themselves, but don't get international credit.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason for that. The expertise is always valuable.
Yes.
Especially in a situation like this.
Exactly.
I mean, I pretty much tie without being inside, without having any sort of inside information. So this is completely ignorant for me to say this.
Right.
But I'm going to say
I'll be speculative after this.
Based on my experience, I think that lumberyard was the first step to death.
Oh yeah,
100%. I'll put just all my faith in them picking anything other than lumberyard would have been at least 50 to 100% more successful.
And here's the second step.
Sure.
Of death, right? The first Amazon Game Studios that was announced was in Orange County, our backyard, and they bought the Double Helix team that was known for movie to games titles.
Yeah.
So that work cycle, if you ever are familiar with it, is very fast, very sloppy. Just get it out the door as soon as the movie's released, right? Doesn't matter the quality, just get the merchandising out there. That's the type of studio you bought. It's like Blizzard's right down the street. Of course, you can't buy Blizzard, but like these are like sure things, sure bets. And that kind of, to me, illustrated what Amazon's level of respect in the game business is. It's very low. Like, to me, it's like they have no idea what it takes to make a game. And they just thought like, oh, these guys have been in business for long enough. Therefore, their ability to kind of make games should be there. And I am kind of shitting on that studio. I have no personal gripes on that studio. I'm not currently employed, so I'm saying a lot more than I usually do.
You're not hating on the developers.
I'm not hating on the developers. I'm sure they hire great people.
Yeah.
But like, it always comes down to management, right? If the management team has a mentality, has an ego, has a certain way that they want to do things without being complimentary with everybody, right? Being a team leader, getting everyone together. He's like, hey, you're probably better than than me, right? Although I am running the studio, I'm just here to kind of make sure everything goes smoothly. Why don't you take the lead? Like, those little fixes are the main problems within a studio, because they never really hand over power in any respect. And so you would see, the excitement around a studio at the beginning, but then high departures soon after, which is what happened with that studio.
All my friends that I knew that went to Amazon Studios
left,
are all gone.
And they're badasses. We have a lot of good friends there, and I'm sure there's still some there who are badasses. But this is if you're watching this worldwide, Orange County is a hotbed.
There's a lot of talent out
There's a lot of talent out here, but there's a lot of like ancestral people just like moving around in OC because nobody wants to go to LA, right? That's an hour and a half commute for us. And unfortunately, besides Blizzard, there isn't really a dominating studio in the Orange County area.
Yeah. So let's see. We have Blizzard, right? Big studio.
We have Blizzard.
Then I think every other studio is like a tier or at least 2 or 3 underneath that. So like Obsidian is a bigger studio. I know that at one time they almost had 250 employees, somewhere around there. Huge. Awesome for them. They're now owned by Microsoft. In Exile, but also like I wouldn't consider In Exile anywhere close to Blizzard size. Ready at Dawn, I would not consider them close to Blizzard size. Turtle Rock, I would not consider them close to Blizzard size. And it's not so much that it's the size that gives them the reputation, but like their quality and the types of projects that they work on. Obsidian just got back into AAA game development with Outer Worlds, so shout out there. Ready at Dawn doing VR games, I think Lone Echo 2 was their last game. In Exile, also doing a lot of VR and RPG stuff, but we're not talking about many big level options down here in Orange County.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the mentality, I don't know what it is about Orange County. It seems like a great place to work, but like it seems also that the heads of these studios or these studio cultures around here are kind of lazy, man. I don't know what it is. It is a great place, but why aren't we having more successful studios around here, like in LA and Santa Monica? Is all the talent just in LA? What is it exactly? Like, why can't we have something else besides Blizzard that is like dominating. And I was hoping Amazon being that player because they have the money and resources.
I think the big thing that we're facing with Orange County growth in game development is, one, it's just quality of life costs and game development risk versus cost. The two things are kind of fighting against each other, right? So like it's getting more expensive to make a quality, like industry standard acceptable game experience. Fans are spending less and less money on these $60 games and more money on the not $60 games. Yeah. So it's getting more and more expensive and risky to start like AAA studios, like huge expense. And if you don't sell, like it's death right away. Yeah. Who's going to give you $1 billion to try to make 4 AAA games, right? You might get your $250, $300 million deal, but that's like a one and done if you're going for AAA. But then also, if you look at housing prices around here,
is it that much more expensive than LA though?
No, but I'm just saying that like it's way more expensive to start a new studio here in Orange County, California, LA, than to go to New Orleans, than to go to the Carolinas, than to go to Oregon, than to go to Austin.
I'm just trying to compare here in LA.
Okay, that's here in LA,
closer cousin, right?
LA has way better infrastructure for public transportation, so the need to drive may not be there for everybody because some people just hop on a train and get there. Like you can go from downtown LA to Santa Monica to like working anywhere near a train in LA will give you access to pretty much all the LA studios. We don't have that down here. If you want to build
a studio next to the Amtrak system,
it helps. It really does help because you're going to have a lot of people who are making $40K a year, like industry, like just starting. Do you think that person wants to drive an hour a day to then pay like their $12 a day to park in a parking lot? And that's going to eat at their salary.
But it's so much easier to move around in a car here. But I do see what you're saying. Like even LA's public transportation isn't that great, but at least they have like a metro system and something to kind of move around.
I think LA supports lower level pay way better than Orange County does. Is one of the things. It's just kind of what I feel.
Well, we can see that. Definitely.
There's shitty places to live, right? Like there's some tenement houses that you could rent, and public trans will get you to and from work. Orange County, if you want to live in a bad place, like it's
not that bad, is it?
Oh no, I'm saying, but like, where could you find $600 rent? You can't find that in Orange County. You can in LA.
Santa Ana, Westminster.
I don't think you can find $600 rent.
Really?
In Santa Ana. I don't think
at this point I haven't looked.
I'll look again. I don't think you can.
Westminster even.
I haven't been to Westminster in a while. Maybe
I would. That's where my people is at, dude.
That's where I'm home.
I can't imagine that place being like expensive. Man. Yeah, there's no way that place is expensive. I gotta look it up.
I just think in general, right? Like we're like the $600 of 5 years ago is now like $1,100 kind of thing. You know what I mean?
That I can kind of
is kind of what I'm getting at. But I think in LA, there's some like real bungalow like opportunities still there.
Okay.
And I definitely wouldn't want to have a car if I lived over there in those areas.
I personally hate LA, man. I don't see what the hype is about over there. It's like it's the ugliest city I've seen in terms of just buildings. Mm-hmm. Everything just is flat, and then you got to fight through the smog and with shitty people.
And the random GTA encounters.
Random GTA encounters. Oh my god. Yeah, we worked in downtown LA, so I do have some kind of like reference that I'm pulling from. Like we worked in downtown LA for like a good year and a half, right? So that's deep in LA, dude.
So when we say like those random GTA encounters, anybody familiar with GTA 4, 5, or 6, 4 or 5?
Yeah,
is like you'll see just that little blue icon of a person, and then like you go and you just have this like little cut scene with that person. Super weird, has nothing to do with the daily life or like, and it's just a weird. LA is full of that.
Dude, we need to share that story. I don't think we ever shared that story.
Which one?
Which ones? All right. This one, we would always, this is when we were working with Cecil Kim at Section Studios in downtown LA. Shout out to him. We would take these 15, 20-minute walks as a break midday, right? We walk around downtown LA, we do a loop, and there's just this particular alley, we call it Bum Alley. I call it Bum Alley. Larry doesn't like that term. I was like, why? They're bums. It's like, well, they don't like being called bums. It's like, they don't have opinions. I was kidding. Anyways, we were going down and we walked past. we were approaching a street, and then this woman, we just hear her yelling, and she was like, "What the fuck, huh?" And she was at the payphone, right?
Yeah,
and she started like, "Oh, motherfucker!" And she started hitting the payphone, banging the phone, and it broke in half. It's like, when was the last time you ever break anything that is phone related, right? And I was like, "Oh shit!" And then we walked past her, trying to avoid her, because that's the move, right? You walk by, not make eye contact, in the hope that she doesn't detect you. And then she looked at us and said, "Hey guys, do you have a phone that I can use?" And then Larry was like, "No, no, I don't." And she's like, "What? Oh, you mean because of this?" It's like, whoa! Do you not see yourself?
Yeah, that was.
She took a moment to realize what she just did.
She tried to undersell it, like, "Oh, because I broke the phone, dude. You all that? No,
because of this?
This is a payphone. I'll be careful with your phone."
Yeah, it's insane.
My favorite was we were going on a like walk jog, and we turned down the same bum alley, and then there was a shorter Hispanic guy, long hair to about his back, and he just had this like kind of laugh, and he was doing this.
Dude, he was scared.
And Brandon was like, "Let's go another way."
No, I said, "Let's go across the street.
Let's go across the street. Yeah.
Let's be safe."
Well, I was like, "Bro, it's like me and you. We're the biggest, buffest dudes that we know anywhere near us at the time." And I was like,
up the block at least.
Nothing's going to happen to us. We'll be fine. And even if, I was like, we'll be fine. Even if something was going to happen.
But what did I say? I say, yeah, I don't know how to fight crazy, dude. My Kung Fu master never taught me how to defend crazy, man. Those guys are insane.
How do you punch someone you don't want to touch?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to touch anybody.
Anyway, so I was like, nah, screw that. We're going on our walk. Damn it. I'm not changing my path just because in my mind I'm scared that some bullshit is going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm always a benefit of the doubt type of person. But I also can lean on the fact that I'm 6'5", well-trained in combat.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not moving. Like, they're going to have their day. We're going to have ours. And then that was a mistake.
This dude.
When we got close, I hear the laugh again.
Dude, crazy got crazier, dude.
With the fingers near the teeth and everything. And so when we get like within aggro radius, right, he turns around.
My fist already was clenched at that moment. I was ready, dude.
So he turns around and he goes, "Look at this." And he's like pointing to like, he had this photo.
He opened up his his jacket, right?
No, he had like
okay.
you know those scrapbook pages?
Yeah.
He had like a scrapbook page that was like sticky with like all these little cutouts. Or he had this scrapbook page, and he points.
Yeah.
And dumbasses, we look at what he's pointing at, and it was like a mannequin. Like if you go to hairdresser school, they have the mannequin heads with hair.
Yeah.
And that was just cut out in the little photo book. And he points at that, so we look. I was like, a mannequin head. He's like, "Look at this." So we looked, and he was like, "She will cut your fucking balls off." And that's when I knew we fucked up.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how to defend that. That guy he could have been carrying, you know. You hear those like Florida stories downtown.
Florida, man.
Yeah, that's basically like, what is that, bath salt and shit? And they just start biting your face off and stuff. Yeah. It's like, I have no idea how to, because they don't feel pain, man. You can't even go for the nuts. You can't go for a sweep. The best chances I got is throw you on the ground.
Throw me on the ground? Yeah. Fuck that. Don't touch me.
And this is your fault, Larry.
I'm good.
You deal with this.
Don't make me have to fight two people, man. I thought you were on my team, bro.
My God. Like if he ran at us, like I can't, I haven't even figured out a solution.
Charlie Murphy front kick. Pow! Right in the chest. Kick? That's your longest kick. You keep your eyes on him the whole time. You generate a considerable amount of power. I would not side kick. I wouldn't side kick.
You wouldn't Bruce side kick?
I wouldn't side kick.
I would side kick. You would front kick?
I would front kick because my momentum is going forward, so I know I'm putting as much force into getting them away from me as possible without losing eye contact.
Yeah.
Like with a back kick, spinning back kick, for a moment you have to take your eyes off them.
Yeah.
Fuck that, dude. I'm watching them the whole time. Pow! Charlie Murphy!
My first instinct was covering all my skin with my jacket to make sure I don't touch skin to this guy. Because any fingernail scratch, dude, that's how zombie viruses get.
Yeah, I get that. I understand.
Oh, that scared me, dude. The whole time I was thinking, like, I told you, dude, you can't fight crazy. Look at this guy.
There's so many stories. Then this is totally off game recap, but it
was while we were working. And this is what downtown LA looks like to me. And this is why LA, to me, I guess Santa Monica might be a different story. It's a beach town, sure. And but you have to go through all this before. And like Santa Monica is like the busiest place to go to during traffic hours.
What made me feel bad is, and not to be sexist, but just we're gonna get a little just to the basics of like combat and things like that. We had a lot of female employees, obviously, who probably didn't spend any time in the gym, didn't take any self-defense classes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're just
dude,
super frail.
Dude.
They had to walk those same streets to get to work.
Forget the streets. Walking in our workplace, and I believe you weren't even...
I wasn't
you weren't there
the
that day.
I heard this story,
You know this story, right?
I know this story.
All right. We'll end it with this. Games recap. This is a true dead life stories, right? So I was at Section Studios. We were on the 4th floor, and we had this back door that I always use to kind of go and get lunch and come back up, right? And so it was around lunchtime. I was going to the gym, and as I was approaching the back door, my coworkers in front of me opened the door, and in comes this guy, just like casually walking in, and they just kind of stood still because we instantly recognized he wasn't a developer, right? It was clearly a homeless man, and he just wandered in, and the two guys in front of him was like, can we help you? What do you need? And I instantly approached this guy. I was like, hey, you can't just be here, like, can I get you water? No, because I had I was ready to work out, right? I was already like, took my steroids and a protein shake, so I was jazzed up. But I was being respectful too. It's like, oh, this guy's probably just cold, because it was around December, and we heard the bums, homeless people, get lonely around this time, and so he just wandered in the studio, and I was like, sir, you can't be in here. This is a work establishment. Like, can I help you? Can I get you some water, maybe some snacks, and maybe see your way out? And he's like, oh, fuck that, fuck this shit. I'm fucking tired of Christmas. I'm fucking tired of everything and everybody. I was like, oh, shit. And so he continued walking down. And as he passed us, and, of course, instantly I was like, oh, man, what is he trying to attack everybody? Most importantly, the women, because this dude is that type of situation. It's like, how do I fight a guy I don't want to touch, right? And so he walked through, and as he walked by, I looked down, and I was like, man, there's something weird with his pants. It's like, I've never seen pants like this. And it took me a second to realize he wasn't wearing any pants, and his skin was
his drawstring is just
dude, it was just extra ashy. So his pants was like at his ankles, and his skin was so ashy that it looked like scratched jeans for a while. And I was like, what? This doesn't look right. And I looked up, and I was like, oh shit, that's his butt cheeks. And he was walking with his pants around his ankle. I was like, oh shit. He's definitely going to attack someone. Yeah. And so I followed him at a distance, right? And I was like, oh, man, you can't be here. And he went all the way to the front lobby from the back, right? To the front lobby. And he just parked his ass on the couch. And as he sat on the couch, oh, we got to throw that couch away. Because that is just bare ass on this couch. And I think they still kept that couch, but I told him to burn it.
Quarantine couch.
Yeah, quarantine that couch. And he just sat there, and he just waited it out, man. He was just complaining, cussing it out. And again, I tried to say, hey, you got to pull up your pants at least, this is a work establishment. They called the security guy up, and the security guy of a building, remember this guy.
So our security guy it's one of those, I have this job and I hope nothing bad happens, security guards. He would wave and smile and like pretty much hug everybody.
Super
hey guys, good morning. How
you
doing? All right.
Yeah.
That's how he talked, right? Yeah. So like if shit went down, he wasn't the one
He wasn't the guy. He was the opposite of security guy. So he came up there, and all I saw him doing was he just sat next to the guy. And it was the first time I saw him not smiling, dude. It was just like all gloomy. He's like, shh, don't talk to him. Don't talk to him. Leave him alone. And we just sat there. Well, I stood there, and I just watched and waited in case he just suddenly goes berserk, right? Because out of everybody, it's a small studio. Yeah. Out of everybody, I felt like I looked around. I was like, Larry's not here.
Yeah, you're probably
I'm the only capable one to front kick this guy.
As long as you went first, I'm sure everyone else would have had confidence to help.
No, man. But this is a crowd that they would just watch. Oh shit! Watch out, Brandon. Watch out, Brandon. That's the type of group I was dealing with. So in my mind, I was like, I gotta stick around.
Yeah.
And so finally, this dude just stood up and got tired of it. And left on his own accord. Mm-hmm. Like the police didn't get there in time or anything.
Oh, man.
But that was the type of situation. It's like, oh, my God. This would not happen anywhere else but downtown L.A. This dude just wandered up to our floor, walked in like it was nothing, sat his bare ass on the leather couch.
When I first heard about that story, I thought that because of the wintertime, I thought that he was trying to commit a nonviolent crime to get sent to jail to have a meal and a warm place to be.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, you're already at that point in your life. Like, what's jail going to do? Other than feed you and give you
I think he was just tired, man. It was just, I think from what I've seen in that guy's face, he was just tired of it all and was just like ready to just fuck it, right? Because that was his mentality. Oh, that's what he's saying the whole time. It's like fuck it, fuck it. He didn't care about the consequences. He didn't care for warmth. Honestly, it didn't seem like he cared about living. It was just he was just surviving. So it was sad, but hilarious.
But that's that's why we say stuff like, again, it's not to be sexist whatsoever. I know that women are fully powerful and capable and able to do things on their own, but at the same time, when it comes down to like a situation like that, like some crazy individual male, don't know necessarily the bill. And I'm not trying to get into politics about male, female sexism and all that. Please understand where I'm coming from here. But like, I do worry about my female coworkers who aren't, at least have defense skills or who have any sort of safety options in a scenario where they walk down those same alleys where Brandon and I walked down and had those random GTA encounters. I can imagine the stories could be a lot different. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm trying to say. And so that's what really was like the eye-opening thing about working in downtown LA. So I didn't mind making sure that people got to their cars safe, or making sure that we went in groups whenever we went out to the bar, even if it was close by. I just always wanted to make sure that people were going to be safe.
Yeah. Well, that is the hour for Games Recap. Again, you can join us daily on twitch.tv/Blue Champs, 10 a.m. Pacific time every morning, or catch us on youtube.com/Blue Champs. So thanks for sticking with us till the end. Stand by, because our first video podcast for our original OG,
Game Dev Unchained.
Game Dev Unchained is coming up next with 2 special guests.
All right.
And so we're going to go offline and then back online. So everybody, see you soon.
See you in a bit.